You ever tried to carry 4 grocery bags, a toddler, your kid's scooter, all the way across the driveway barefoot, and you feel like your spine is about to take a permanent vacation? Well, that's real life. That's a loaded carry. And that's what we're going to dive into today's episode. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can make these a transformative exercise within your training and how you can use something like this to actually get leaner, live longer, build grip strength, build energy, and increase your metabolism. You're listening to Get Leaner and Live Longer with Nate Palmer. That's a new podcast name. It's the show for busy people who want to maximize their energy, burn fat, and build a body that feels as good as it looks. I'm your host, Nate Palmer. I've been a coach since 2008, and I believe that looking great and feeling unstoppable does not require hours in the gym or giving up all the foods that you love. This show is where I share real life strategies to help you get leaner, live longer, and unlock your $1 million body, one habit, one meal, and one workout at a time. So if you're ready to cut through the noise, take control of your health, and finally feel like a high performer again, let's dive into some loaded carries. Today, I want to talk about one of the most underrated strength movements in the gym, loaded carries. And if this was 10 years ago, you might not even heard of these. I think we're getting better as a society of seeing more of these, actually seeing people program them into their workouts, seeing people walk around with heavy dumbbells. And if you have seen that and you're like, what are they doing? That's what it is. So very cool. I'm going to share why they matter, some of the science behind them, and then how they show up in real life. How strong you actually should be if you want to build elite levels of strength. I'll give you a little bit of a chart here, and then I'll give you a challenge at the end to test yourself, and then you can tag me on Instagram when you do that. For me, though, a while back, I realized something that was a little bit humbling. I was pretty strong on paper. I could deadlift a lot. My bench press was pretty respectable. But the second I had to start carrying multiple things, carry my kid, the car seat, 2 suitcases and 3 grocery bags, things got real wobbly real fast. I didn't feel super stable. My grip would kind of give out. My shoulders would be burning. And then my dad strength didn't really feel like dad strength. It felt like desk strength. And that's when I realized I'm not necessarily training for life. I was just training to look good for my spreadsheets. And that's not necessarily what I wanted out of life. So what are loaded carries and why should we do them? Simple. Loaded carries are basically you pick up something heavy and you walk with it. It's basic, but that's the point. It's like primal strength, types. So there's a couple different types you can do that you may have seen people doing in the gym or at CrossFit or in videos. The first one is the kind of the most basic, called a farmer's carries. It's carrying weights in both hands. So most of the time people do this with dumbbells, but you can also do it with like a trap bar. Suitcase carries is carrying just one side at a time. Usually that's a dumbbell or a kettlebell. Front rack carries are holding usually, again, 2 kettlebells kind of at your shoulders, making sure you're kind of pulling them into your chest. Zercher carries are a really fun one. That's where you're given like a big sandbag, a big hug, or you're taking a barbell, putting it in the crooks of your elbows, and then pulling your hands to your chest. So it puts the weight more at like the mid part of your body, forces your upper back to work a little bit harder. And then overhead carries. This is like expert mode, hard mode. That's where you lock out your elbows. You're holding something up overhead. Usually this is a barbell. Don't do this around breakable things because sometimes bailing on this weight is the right choice. You can also mix these up and do one front rack and one suitcase, or one overhead kettlebell and one by your side, or one by your chin. You can mix these up and play with them a little bit. You're going to get different results, different muscles working harder on each one, but all of them have a time and a place. And I incorporate almost with every single client that I work with, some form of loaded carry to build strength. But because these are literally like a Swiss Army knife of strength. They're super effective. They can target a lot of different muscle groups. They have a really high ROI, in my opinion. So they have a great return on their investment. You are going to be able to build strength, build muscle, like fill in some of these gaps that I find, without necessarily hurting yourself or having to do a really heavy deadlift. So like you're going to get your traps and shoulders, side delts, honestly, like without doing a lot of side raises, you can build great shoulders with heavy carries because you have to use your side delts to stabilize your core. Absolutely. You're bracing the entire time. And then this is especially true if you're doing like a suitcase or an overhead variation, because you'll notice instantly if you start to slip or have like a power bleed out through your midsection. Grip, of course, this is probably the first thing to go for most people. And that's a clue that that's a weak link. I feel like farmer's carries and loaded carries are one of the best things for identifying weak links in your kinetic chain and then fixing them. Posture. Obviously, we're going to trying to walk with perfect posture, head up, chest up, shoulder blades pulled back. It demands a tall spine and a stable gait. So it actually helps you work on your walking, which is something that we don't even think about. We just do it. Cardio gets impacted. If you do a heavy farmer's walk for like 100 meters, you're going to be gasping and you don't have to do any sort of sprinting or running to get there. And then fat loss. I think this is a great fat loss exercise. It's got full body strain. It's got a massive metabolic demand. It burns a lot of calories. Plus, you just look so badass doing it. It's like a deadlift, but it moves. And your body doesn't get to rest until you set that weight down. So it's nice to be doing it for distance or for time, in my opinion. Now, here's where it gets wild. Let's talk a little bit about the science. Grip strength isn't just about opening pickle jars or carrying groceries, although that is important. And as a man, you have to be able to open all the pickle jars in the family. This is the law. You must be able to open the pickle jars in your family. Bonus points if you go over to a rival dad's house and you open their pickle jars for them and then sharpen their knives. That is like obviously very diabolical, but bonus points for being able to do that. Grip strength isn't just about that, though. It is directly linked to how long you'll live. And I am desperately trying to convince you to do more farmers carries in here. So I'm going to share with you a couple different studies that I think are really powerful that showcase the importance of this. So there's a meta-analysis in a magazine called The Lancet that showed that every 10-pound decrease in grip strength was associated with a 16% increase in what's called all-cause mortality. So the risk of death from any cause. That's insane. So we're talking about heart disease, stroke, cancer. Grip strength was a high predictor of all of it. There's another study out of Japan that found grip strength is more predictive of health span than blood pressure or cholesterol readings. So if you're ignoring your grip strength, you're ignoring a huge signal about your overall health. Loaded carries are one of the single most effective, efficient ways to build grip strength without needing to hang from a bar, do endless wrist curls, or that wrist roller. Those are the time and a place, but that crushing grip strength of being able to squeeze something in your hands and hold it very tight is extremely important for us. Grip strength is just the start, though. Like I said, this is a full body exercise, and loaded carries do so much more. Science backs all of it up. Okay, so a couple of different things that we talked about earlier about fat loss. There was a study in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research that showed that loaded carries dramatically increase metabolic demand on the body and energy expenditure, both during and after training. So it's like a cardio exercise without endless miles on the treadmill or getting on an elliptical. Plus, any cardio that you can do that your grandma can't do, that's good cardio. So I like thinking about like cardio as in terms of what are strong men, like not just strong guys, but like literal like the world's strongest men. What do they do for their cardio? And they do a lot of drags and they do a lot of carries. And I think if we look at those guys, because they are large, gigantic, strong human beings who have incredible motors too. And if you can emulate some of what they're doing, that was going to build our motor and our ability to react, keep strong, stay tight under pressure. And when we get a little bit fatigued and have that cardiovascular response, we start breathing a little bit harder. So we're able to breathe harder, work harder without losing our composure or losing and becoming like less powerful through our kinetic chain again. It builds our full body stability. It builds athleticism too, because it activates your stabilizer throughout your entire body, your hips, your shoulders, your feet. NSCA research found that they improve your neuromuscular control and gait stability, which actually means you can age in reverse according to some of the metrics that people are looking at. So you'll stay agile, you'll stay active. And I think anytime you're walking and doing like a locomotion exercise, produces a tremendous demand on your body as well. So the more you can do of this, the easier it's going to be to age, and the stronger you're going to be as you get older. The core activation also like completely blows sit-ups away in terms of activation. The EMG studies that we've seen show carries, especially single arm carries, like those suitcase carries, light up your obliques and deep core way more than traditional ab exercises like planks or sit-ups. So it's real world strength. It's not just six-pack aesthetics, which are great. I love that. But you can have it both ways. And you can get leaner while doing it by doing these heavy carries. Postural correction. So if you got bad posture, you got tech neck, you got a rounded like forward position where you're staring at your computer all day, you're typing a lot, you just have this kind of T-Rex arms and everything's falling forward. Carries undo that desk slump. You're reinforcing upright posture. You're reinforcing spinal stacking. You're literally training yourself to walk taller and look more confident, right? So this is like, you can't put a price on this. Like, we're only 4 out of 6 right now. And already I hope you are like, let me get to the gym. Let me do some heavy carries. How much weight should I use? I'm going to get to that in just a second. Number 5, and this is a big one for me. I love this aspect of it, but it trains mental toughness and it trains your focus. It forces you to stay present. They build your pain tolerance and teach your brain to stay calm while under load. So just like life, just like jujitsu, these things are very, very important. And because you can just go for a walk with the weight and you can let that pull you to the side and it's kind of pulling on your shoulders and, like you're just kind of getting through it. But when you really force that positive position where you're stacking your spine, your core, keeping your core tight, you are going to be fully dialed in on what's going on. And you are going to be eliminating those weak links before they even come up because you are so focused on carrying that heavy weight. So if you don't believe me on this one, go for a half-mile walk with a single kettlebell. Pass that back and forth between your hands. Feel how that feels. Feel how much your present worries and your anxiety about work and that email you didn't get back to completely disappear from your mind as you go through an exercise like this. And then lastly, one of the things I think is really important is that joint integrity and then injury prevention, keeping you bulletproof. Carries really, really will bulletproof your knees, your hips, your spine, your shoulders by training those muscles and stabilizers that protect your joints. It's like a rehab tool disguised as a strength training exercise. All of that, and you don't even need any fancy equipment, just something heavy. You don't need a spotter. You don't need anyone else around. You don't even need a gym to get started. Just pick something heavy up, walk, repeat, become unstoppable. Let's go. So most of us are not training to win gold medals, and that's fine. We are training to carry a kid and a suitcase through an airport. We're training to haul heavy bags of mulch across the yard because we need to replant our lawn. We are training to stay lean, strong, and energetic for decades. And loaded carries prepare you for real life resistance. And shout out to my jiu-jitsu people out there. Carries build the grip, the posture, and the conditioning you need to outlast the guys who are just in the gym lifting weights. Even if they're deadlifting, even if they're squatting, loaded carries will give you a competitive advantage on everybody else around you. Because let's be real, if you can deadlift 2 times your body weight, but you can't carry half your body weight per hand for 60 seconds, you've got a leak. You got an energy leak somewhere. And carries will expose those energy leaks, whether it's your grip, your bracing, your endurance, your posture, and it helps fix them at the same time. So it's even better than going like physical therapy. Obviously, if you have an injury, go to physical therapy. I don't think I need to say that. But getting stronger at carries makes your deadlift, squat, and pull up actually better as well. The more your grip strength improves, the more better you get at rowing, the more better you get at deadlifting, the more better you get at pull-ups. Everything improves as you get stronger. Grip strength is actually also correlated with bench press strength, which is kind of interesting too. So the stronger you can get your grip, the more tension you can create throughout your body, the better you're going to feel, the stronger you're going to feel. So how strong should you be? Where should you aim with this stuff? So one of the guys who I love following online, his name is Dr. John Rusin. He is a strength coach out of Madison, Wisconsin, someone I've been following for a long time, written on his website a couple times. Just a high quality individual, just obsessed with bulletproofing people, no BS, no fluff exercises. And he has a strength scale for farmers carries. And I just go off of his because he's really smart. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Why bother? So he says the beginner level is 25% of body weight per hand. Okay. So we're going to talk about load per hand. So like think about dumbbells here, dumbbells or kettlebells. So beginner would be 25% of your body weight per hand. So if you weigh 200 pounds, that would be 50 pounds per hand. And you're walking for 30 seconds. Intermediate level would be 33% of your body weight per hand. So I think science or math is hard, 66 pounds per hand. And you're walking for 45 seconds. I think that's for a 200-pound guy. Advanced would be 50% of your body weight per hand, and you're walking for 60 seconds. So if you're 200 pounds, you're walking with 100-pound dumbbells in each hand for 1 minute. And if you're elite, you're walking with 75% plus of your body weight per hand for 60 seconds or more. So if you can carry 150 pounds per hand for over a minute, you have elite levels of grip and carry strength. So if you weigh 180 pounds, advanced is 90 pounds per hand for a full minute. So for 180 pounds, you want to be carrying 135 per hand. That's dad strength right there. You're tearing pickle jars apart at this point. So this is something to aspire to and kind of build up to. Don't crush yourself by doing all of this all at once or trying to hit elite levels today or tomorrow. See where you're at and work up. If you've never done these before, they can leave you a little bit sore, especially in your traps, shoulders, and forearms. So just go slow. Don't go crazy. Another tip I would say is try not to bend your elbows. Let them hang naturally, but pull the shoulder blades back and focus on the posture instead. Keep your core nice and tight, nice and braced. And then another thing that I really like is making sure I set my dumbbells down on a bench or a box or an elevated surface, so I'm not having to deadlift them off the ground to start. So here's how to plug them into your workouts. You can use these as a finisher at your end of your lift. I tend not to do it on back days because I already got a lot of grip work done on that day. So I'll do it on like a chest day or a shoulder day or an arms day or a leg day. That's great. You can do it as a standalone workout. Just like if you want to only have 20 minutes, just do like 3 variations, 3 rounds, and then rest as needed. So do like a farmer's carry, then a front rack carry, then a suitcase carry, or do a suitcase carry, then a suitcase carry with an overhead carry, and then do a zercher carry, something like that. If you can get 10 minutes of total carry time every week, you're in a good spot. So try to fit that in however it feels. So if you're doing like 10 minutes one day, great. If you can do 5 minutes twice, great. If you're doing 3 minutes 3 times, great. Just however it works best for you to fit it in, that's awesome. You can also use dumbbells, kettlebells, sandbags, trap bars, regular Olympic bars, or just 2 5-gallon jugs of water if you're in the garage and you need to move those to the inside of the house anyways. So here's your challenge for the day. And I would love for you to tag me on Instagram if you do this. Tag me at _$1,000,000body. Make sure you follow me. I'm always putting stuff out on there, putting some podcast stuff out, but also more stuff for people who want to get leaner and live longer. So hopefully helpful tips. So the challenge is to carry 50% of your body weight per hand for 60 seconds. I would love to see you get to that advanced stage. So tag me if you can do that. If you weigh 200 pounds, that's hundreds in each hand. If you can do it, you're super strong. And if you're not, we got some work to do. So post your weight, post your time on Instagram, tag me, and let's see where you stack up. I'll say this. If you take your body weight, do 50% per hand, and then whoever can go the longest and tags me on Instagram, I will send a free Stay Savage $1 Million Body shirt. That's one of the new ones we just came out with. It's got a skeleton on it. It's super cool. It's really badass. 13-year-old Nate would really like a spooky skeleton on a shirt. Anyways, post your weight, post your time on Instagram, tag me, and let's see where you stack up with this. Because if you want to be lean, strong, resilient, hard to kill, loaded carries are one of the fastest, simplest paths to becoming that guy. I'll see you next time.